Hey there, bibliophiles and those raising bibliophiles. Without ratings and warning labels, knowing which books are appropriate for your children to read is like navigating wild terrain without a map and a compass. I don't know about you, but I have been burned more than once handing my child a book that I thought was clean and appropriate for them to read. I'm a fellow mom, educator, reading specialist, and literary enthusiast trying to find great books for my children and yours to read. So if you're looking for a real review from a mom with a biblical worldview, then welcome and enjoy this week's book review. So this week's book review is Beneath the Swirling Sky by Carolyn Lilagu. Hopefully I am pronouncing that correctly. This is a magical series centered on the world of art, named after famous painters. Vincent and his cousin Georgia travel through paintings in order to save Vincent's sister Lily, who's been kidnapped by Vincent's thought to be dead aunt. So before I go much further, I do want to read just a little bit of the opening just to give you an idea of the writing style. Absolutely love the premise of the story, and it is super cute. But I'm just going to read just a little bit just to give you a taste. Vincent should have been spending spring break at the beach or Knott's Berry Farm, or at least having a video game marathon with his friends. Instead, he was staring out the backseat window at the endless Texas countryside rolling by. He let his eyes unfocus, and the field, cows, and clumps of short trees blurred like an impressionist painting. But painting, or rather not painting, was what had gotten him into this mess. Mom thought she was being subtle about it, but Vincent knew the only reason she and Dad had booked a cruise out of Galveston instead of Los Angeles, where they lived, was her secret plan to reconnect him with art. Mom wanted Vincent and his sister Lily to meet her Uncle Leo, who was some kind of art restorer. Not just meet, but stay with him for the whole week of spring break. In the middle of nowhere, Texas, with no cell service. At least when her plan failed, Mom might finally quit bugging him to paint again. When Mom and Dad had sprung this plan on them, Vincent had tried to talk his way out of it. They'd never met Mom's extended family. Mom had just sighed and responded that sometimes family is complicated. Lily, of course, had instantly added Uncle Leo to the family tree she was making for school, right alongside Vincent, Mom, Dad, and the birth parents she had never met. Vincent smiled at the memory. Lily was always ready to welcome someone new, though she hadn't always been that way. 3 years ago, when Vincent was 9, his parents had adopted 3-year-old Lily from China. They'd spent almost 2 weeks with her in China, and then finally, on the day before they needed to fly home, Lily had clutched Vincent's hand, refusing to let go. Some siblings didn't get along, but Vincent and Lily had been close ever since that moment, even though it had taken a while before they spoke the same language. I'm amazed you can still find this place without GPS, Dad said, as Mom pulled off the 2-lane road onto a gravel drive. Vincent got his first glimpse of his great uncle Leo's 2-story white ranch house. It stood alone in a field dotted with red and blue wildflowers. Vincent felt like he'd been dropped in an endless world of Minecraft minus the ability to build. Remember, Mom said as they got out of the car, your great uncle does some very important art conservation he can tell you about, and he's got lots of beautiful paintings you can look at, but no touching the art. She gave Vincent a very serious look, as if this were something he might actually be tempted to do. Understand? No problem. He wasn't planning on touching the art or doing anything else with it. I want to see all the pretty pictures, Lily said. She hopped up and down her ever-present toy bunny, Mr. Rumples, tucked snugly under her arm. You can look at all the pictures that aren't in Uncle Leo's work studio, and there's lots to do outside. You can pick wildflowers, catch grasshoppers. There's even a river, but you should not go there without your brother. Vincent, please make sure to watch your sister. Mom sighed as she looked out across the field with the hint of a smile. I used to love it here. The front door burst open, and a thin man with wiry gray hair and a bushy white mustache strode toward them with arms stretched wide. So I'm going to stop there. But that just gives you a little bit of the opening, a little bit of the narration and the writing style. So centered to his world, there are people known as the Restorationists and those that are the Distortionists. So Vincent's family, unbeknownst to him at the time, are restorationists, something that is hereditary. Not everyone can travel through artwork, but Vincent's family can, and they're from a long history of family who have been working to restore famous works of art that have been damaged by time, neglect, or the distortionists. Distortionists aim to use art for its power in order to manipulate or gain more power for themselves. Vincent's mother has kept this world secret from him in order to keep him safe, as many restorationists have been killed by the distortionists, and thus only a few of them actually remain. Additionally, Lily, like I read from the opening, she's an adopted sibling from China. The fact that she's even able to travel at all, which she does in the story, along with 16 other children that are later saved from Vincent's aunt, should technically not be able to travel through art. So there's a lot of questions that take place. These sort of loose strings definitely leave a lot of questions and answers to be explored in some of the later books in the series. As the story opens, Vincent is obviously very unhappy to be staying at his great uncle Leo's, someone that he has never met before, while his parents are going on their cruise. So within the last year, Vincent has really kind of stopped doing art altogether. The author does a great job of sort of building out this internal conflict that Vincent is going through throughout the story. So readers are going to slowly discover what it is that Vincent has faced that's kind of made him sort of skeptical and pulling away from art. A lot of that having to do with harsh criticism from classmates. He also kind of believes that his parents, who have been praising his art all this time, have maybe been lying to him because of the way that his classmates had kind of been treating him. Vincent, as a result, has just kind of sworn off art. He doesn't think he can really trust anybody. That really is until he starts traveling and working to save his sister and some of the other children. He discovers his gift, and he is definitely determined to use it. So the overarching message is really not to let fear stop you from doing what you know you should or could do. Vincent ultimately ends the novel with a new determination to train in his artistic ability and to no longer allow fear to control him. If you go to my website at holdingsteadfastreaders.com, you're going to get a few more details about this particular story. Some quotes that I thought were really great. Great themes, great quotes. My understanding is this author is a Christian author, so you see a lot of that kind of stuff presented into the story. Vincent is definitely primary in this story, but Georgia, his cousin, is kind of like his partner in crime throughout the book. She has grown up with the ability to travel. She understands the world of the restorationists. However, she is also at Uncle Leo's for the week as her parents are traveling on a mission without her. In her own little story arc, she wants to be seen as capable and being able to do great things, but her parents are kind of likewise trying to keep her safe, thinking that she's not really ready. At the end, they do acknowledge that she is ready because she has helped Vincent and some of the children in the story. Additionally, she is really a great motivator for Vincent, and she really challenges him to reconsider his position on art. What is art? Why make art? She is a well thought out companion to definitely balance Vincent, and they really make a great team. So I think that's a great, strong piece from this novel, is having that balance between the characters. This novel would also make a great family read aloud. It offers a fantasy world in which art can literally transport the readers into another world, into the artist's mind. There's no profanity. There's great Christian elements, like I was stating before, kind of weaved right in. In one of Rembrandt's paintings, Vincent encounters Jesus as he calms the storm, and this sort of encounter leaves him changed as he's filled with peace and courage. The author also addresses the power of art in her author's note and how it's a reflection of the image of God, the ultimate creator. So just a beautiful touch and a witness to young readers, especially those who are more creative. Sometimes our world today kind of values things that are more tangible or realistic, or what we value as productive, and they can kind of devalue the creativity, especially when people focus on what production or what tasks result in money versus the skill. And so artists are definitely important. Creativity is important. And most importantly, it really is a reflection of God's amazing gift and his own creativity. So I really love how the author, Carolyn, really offers that validation to young readers throughout her story and through her art. I have recently purchased book 2 and 3, so I am looking forward to reading those and to getting those reviews to you as parents, and hopefully in time for summer, as you're pulling together maybe some reading lists for your children this summer. But so far, if you are looking at sort of maybe getting a jump or getting ahead, Beneath the Swirling Sky is definitely a great book so far. Like I said, I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. And I hope that's helpful to you as a parent. If you're trying to find great books for your children to read, I definitely recommend this one and suggest that you add that to your child's reading list. And I hope that you will join me next week for another book review.